Commuters in Ekurhuleni continue to face major transport disruptions. That's after taxi operations were suspended yesterday. The South African National Taxi Council saying it has withdrawn services, all in protest against what it calls unfair and unsustainable enforcement practices.
Sintako is arguing that the ongoing impounding of mostly 10-seater minibus taxis has dealt a severe blow to their business. By last night, their services had already been halted across the metro. It's left commuters stranded in many areas, which include Benoni, Katlehong, Tembisa, Kempton Park and Germiston. Our reporters Zola, Sholwana, Nqobile Madlala and Lumka Bekindawo dotted across Ekurhuleni this morning. Let's take you straight to Kempton Park and begin with Lumka. Lumka, good morning. We saw last night already commuters were left in limbo where you are. Tell us what you are seeing this morning.
A very good morning to you, Eman, and the viewers at home. At the moment, what we see is that there are people who are stranded on the streets here in Kempton Park because there are no taxis. The taxi rank is empty. And when we were speaking with some of the people that are here, they were telling us that most of them had to sleep here because yesterday there was no transport. But now let's bring in one of the community members who is going to speak to us. Thank you so much for your time. Bawulele apha ebusuku ngoba bengena transport affecta kanjani le indaba ye strike
affecta kakhulu indaba ye strike ngoba mukusuke eDaveyton ngizalana manje ngama Uber is 400 and something kodwa monga ama taxi ngibela nge20 rand bekungcono ugovernment asheshe ixazulule inkinga yakhe nabantu bama taxi sokwazi ukusheshe sifike emsebenzini yezo mama
nilele apha yesterday nilale njani phandle
silele sibasa umlilo na umlilo la ukhona silele siwothela umlilo bese into ebesizoyenza bese uhamba ngani ngoba ukusuka labathi 400 uyathatha 400
intona khalela mhlamba uba ingenziwa ukuzama ukunqanda le ngxaki
isitaki kusho ukuthi ugovernment uyofuneka lungisa inkinga zakhe nabantu bamatekisi izolunga leyo nkinga ngaphandle kwalokho angeke lunga uyomela khuluma nabamatekisi ukuthi amatekisi awabuya alungise le skala bakhala ngazo lapho kuyoba right
ucima namhlanje nisakwazi ugoduka
sesozama ugoduka ngezinye indlela ngoba amatekisi vela wekhona namhlanje awekho total.
Thank you so much. Iman, that's Ndomiso, one of the community members here. He's saying that he and other people had to sleep here because there was no transport yesterday. And also he's saying that his wish is that the government can just intervene, trying to help them so that this solution they can come up with a solution, trying to help the community members so that the taxis can start operating again. But we are going to keep you updated as we are going to keep to be here throughout the day. And also what we have noticed is that we haven't seen any police or any securities that are here to monitor the situation. But at the moment, the situation is calm and people are just going around the town, and there are those that are still waiting for their transport. They are stranded as we speak.
Lumka, we were noticing as you were talking to us another woman who was just behind you. Where is she heading and what is her option this morning? The one thing we want to know is now that the buses seem to also not be operating, you've got the taxi services that have been suspended. How on earth are people going to actually get to work?
Iman, there are people who have been here since yesterday. They couldn't go home because there was no transport. And then there are those that are still waiting here. They do not know how are they going to reach out, how are they going to reach to their work destinations. But with me, I do have one of the workers here who's also going to speak to us. Thank you so much for your time. How is this taxi strike affecting you?
Yes, affecta kakhulu ngoba uyabona manje nje la edrobheni ku quiet nemabhizinisi ku quiet yonke into ku quiet nje abanye basuka kude balale nase ecom hotel emahotela ukuthi bakazi ukuthi babe safe ngoba nakhona kulala estradini awukho safe sisi ngoba ukudla kwentshela boya, you understand. But simane njile ukuthi sithola lama Uber lawo nalo Uber leyo iyadura kakhulu sisi ngicabanga ukuthi ku taxi ukhipha 20 rand but ku Uber ukhipha 400 rand ukuthi kubeke lapho uya khona sisi is affecta kakhulu ngcono ukuthi government akwazi ukuxazulula indaba le.
uze ngo-Uber namhlanje ugoduke njani izolo?
Ngigoduke ngayo iHuba leyo sisi, and take it or leave it, you have to take out that amount abayifunayo ukuthi ukwazi ukufika safe. Njengosisi nje ngumuntu wesimama ngeke ngikwazi ukulala esitradeni ngoba ngizoba ukudla kwenzela boy. Yebo.
Thank you so much. Iman, that's one of the committee members saying that yesterday they have been struggling. Even today they had to use e-hailing to come to work, to come to Kempton Park, because some of them, they are here for work. And also this has also affected the learners around the area, even the people that have small businesses. They were saying that they do not know how are they going to make money today, because if the taxes are not here, that is going to affect them so badly.
Lumka Bekindawo, it really is biting hard, as we can see from the people that you are talking to. The price of an Uber exponentially higher than the taxi fares that they are paying. So that is not a viable option for them. Let's pivot next to Zola Sholwana, who is live for us in Tembisa. Zola, good morning. What are you seeing there?
Well, Iman, my colleague Lumka has just mentioned that there are people that slept at taxi ranks or where they normally wait for taxis. That is what we are seeing here in Tembisa. This is an Ivory Park where some people are saying that they've had to walk from where they work to get to this point yesterday, and they were hoping that the situation would be different today, hoping to get taxis, but that has not been the case. But I can tell you that we are seeing two situations here. There are people that are able to get to their destinations, but anyone that has to go to Germiston and Kempton Park is unable to get a taxi at this particular moment. And these are people that are expected to report on duty, Iman, this morning by their respective companies. Now, looking at the numbers of taxis that operate here on a daily basis, we're looking at about 11,000 taxis in Ekurhuleni, but of course, not all of them are Santaco taxis, where they ferry over 300,000 people on a daily basis. Now, when we hear about this strike, it means that there's going to be a lot of people that will be impacted. Let me actually get to speak to someone, that had to walk from his place of work to get home yesterday. Puti, thank you very much for your time. In affected kanjani le ndaba ye strike as abantu abasebenzayo?
Kalibitso ke Justice Mashe. Tabe ya discard da tsamaya era fictile ka tsele nngwe mane bohloko because ba bang ba rena re buile ka maoto mabane. So lo ntse jwale ka bona mo tletsi a gona gore ka mmereko. So ke yona problem.
So ha taxi sa fihle ka je ko tla khona gore o tsamaye ka maoto hape ho ya mosebetsing?
Nka se kgone. Nka se kgone gore nka tsamaya ka maoto at all. Because ke lapile from mabane re bua ka maoto wa bona e ba ka tseleng wa bona.
Wena o sebeletsa kae?
Ke sebeletsa EPDC.
Ko kae? A ke re mo Ivory. O sebetsa company ya hao e ko kae? A o palama taxi e tswang mo e yang kae?
Ke ko Serengeti. Ke ko Serengeti.
So go mosebetsing ba tlhaloganya ka situation e?
Ke go shera ba tla tlhaloganya because ka mogolo nka wana se kgethwa re. A se kgethwa re ke situation. Mara swantse ba make sure ba ilukisha ka pele. Because ya affect all.
Ha ba sa ilukise ka pele le tlo dira yang cause ba bang ba re ha ba afford di Uber so ha ba tsebe gore ba tlo etsa yang?
Mora re tlo ba bothata mo. Because batho ba kaofela ba tlo ba stranded. So that's why rena re wisha gore no at least ba ka ilukisha ka pele gore ntongwe lengwe tla khona o tsamaya ka lenaneo. Because ge le go ntse la bona gore a go bui thata go bui.
Thank you, Abut. Thank you so much for your time. Well, Iman, that's one of the commuters speaking about his experience where he had to walk from his place of work to get to where he lives here in Ivory Park in Tembisa. When I asked him what's going to happen today, is he going to walk to work again? He said he will obviously not be able to because the distance is actually quite long. And really, that's what we've been hearing from some of the stranded commuters that you're seeing here from the visuals photos that my colleague is showing you at this particular moment, these people are hoping and praying for a taxi that will come and collect them so that they are able to report on duty. Some of them have been queuing here since the early hours of the morning, as early as 3 a.m. And, there has been no sign of a taxi. But I can tell you that from what you're seeing, you should be able to see that there are taxis that are currently in transit. And, of course, these are taxis that are not taking people to, places that have been mentioned, your Germiston, Kempton Park, Edenvale. Those are the areas that are greatly impacted in Ekurhuleni. So people remain stranded, and they're hoping that perhaps, government and also Santaco will be able to have, conversations so that they are able to resolve this matter, because it's not only affecting taxi operators only, it is affecting people on the ground, people that are solely relying on taxis as a mode of transport, people that, do not have, financial means to use e-hailing services at this particular moment. We know that this has not only disrupted taxi operations, Iman. Buses that would normally ferry people, some of them are not operating at this moment due to, safety concerns. We know that some scholar transports as well are not operating due to safety concerns. So there are a lot of disruptions here. But of course, we keep on monitoring the situation in this taxi rank and really get to see what's going to happen to these people that are stranded at this moment. Back to you in studio.
Zola, just a final one, and if we don't have the answer now, maybe we can find out. For those taxis that are operating, which taxi organization is operational this morning? It sounds like from what you're saying, they do not service the routes that are serviced by Santaco. Just to get a sense of what alternatives commuters might have.
Well, Iman, the information at our disposal, and of course this has not been confirmed because we spoke to taxi drivers, they are saying that most of the taxis that are operating here are Santaco taxis. But these that are operational are not using the routes that we understand are currently affected. Hence, other people are able to get to their, destinations. And of course, those that are going to your Kempton Park, your Germiston, those cannot be able to operate at this particular moment, and they are Santaco taxis due to the fact that we know that they were urged not to do so as this strike is currently underway. But of course, we are hoping to get to hear from Santaco as to what's going to happen moving forward, and possibly hear from the NTA as well as to since they're not part of the strike, according to what we're understanding, will they continue operating in those affected routes, or what's going to happen?
Yeah, and that's the other taxi union, the National Taxi Alliance. Zola, Sholwana, thank you.
All right, let's continue with this, because the taxi strike indeed affecting even municipal bus services in Ekurhuleni amid fears of violence. Nqobile Madlala joins us live from Germiston. So the big fear here is that the spillover effects, Nqobile, will not just be from the taxi industry and the areas around, but also bus services. A whole host of people that we're seeing waiting around. Would you be able to share what the situation is like in Germiston? Good morning.
Good morning, Nqobile. The situation, just like what my colleagues have highlighted there, very severe for the people that actually rely on this mode of transport. You'll know that the taxi industry in the country is estimated to be an over 90 billion industry. And so it has a lot of taxis, which is over 300 taxis, 300,000 taxis. Now, in Ekurhuleni specifically, Santaco is demanding that they release the 17 buses, taxi minibuses that they say that have been impounded, and as a result, whilst they're having those conversations, they're saying that they can only speak to the minister or speak to the president, and other than that, they do not want to speak or engage with an MMC or an MEC that can give them or highlight what is taking place here until they actually give them those 17 buses. Where we're standing, those people that are supposed to be in taxis today, were supposed to be at work, are basically standing stranded with no other mode of transport that they can actually use. The taxi rank is completely empty, and the people are just waiting with nothing else to do. Most of them making calls, and you'll see some of the people on the phone because they have to make urgent calls in terms of how they're going to get to work, or if they are not at all going to get to work. We've already seen some of the squads from the taxis that were actually watching this area, ensuring that nobody is taking any other mode of transport. But now we've started seeing some of those 9-seaters that were also coming in to try and get the customers to speak to them. But let's speak to the customers here who are already late for work. Mama, kukuphatha kanjani ke lokho kwenzakalayo namhlanje? Wenzani la erenke?
Kungiphatha kabi kakhulu because manje sidelayile ukuya emsebenzini, kahle kahle asisakhona ukuya emsebenzini due to lento eyenziwa ama taxi association. Yesterday bathe i-situation izoba kahle. Today we are here at rank since isifike ngabo 4, akunachintsho, akunanix, asikhona ku-requesta ama-Uber because we are scared for our lives. Ukuthi what if ngi-requeste i-Uber then bayivimbele, or there's something, there's shooting, then nami ngife no driver. So leyo nto le is affecta kakhulu because labantu basidinga njengathi njengamanje sibadinga emisebenzini. I think ukuthi abantu manje abayanga ngenxa yale situation le. As khoni like abantwana bethu, that means ukuthi today angeke kube nokudla esikubeka etafuleni because no work no pay.
Ubu busy nama calls mama, uzama ukufonela emsebenzini, kuzokusiza kanjani nje lokho?
No, ukufanele emsebenzini ukuthi ngibazise i-situation ekhona because ukuhlala ungareport emsebenzini nakhona kuzosipha inkinga. Ngasuka ngilahlekelwe umsebenzi, bazicabangela ukuthi oh it's a payday, akeze emsebenzini, it's a weekend, maybe ufuna ukuhamba ayophuza or something. So ukureporta kwami ukuthi ke ngisave umsebenzi wami, inform induna zami ukuthi no, I can't come to work due to i-transport ayikho.
Ngisabuza nje ngendaba ye-transport, kukhona ama itimela emva kwethu, kungani bhuti ningazange niye itimela nongcono?
The problem ukuthi itimela asikwazi ukuhamba kuzinye indawo like Bolongmeto or Eden Vale, so ezinye itimela zihamba only eJoburg and then Tembisa Lerala and then Captain Park only. So that's the problem ukuthi asikwazanga ukuthi nathi sithole itrain ezosibeka duze nomsebenzi wethu. Yebo.
Sabonga kakhulu for explaining that to us. So those are the commuters that are currently stranded. Arabile, they're just explaining to us that they're not able to go to work, and mainly this is because of the inconvenience of that taxi strike. But they have been making calls now to their work, asking and just sort of giving them the situation on the ground and explaining what is taking place. But at the moment, they can't take any other mode of transport because of the fear. And you will know that there has been some clashes between taxis as well as e-hailing industry. But also they're saying they cannot use something like a train, mainly because it does not go to the kind of route that they would be required to go to. And that means that they cannot go and find themselves at work. The taxi rank completely empty, and you'll see it there. Everybody's standing outside of the taxi rank.